Welcome to your daily 49ers update. I'm Rob Stats Guerrera. Here is what's happening. A lot has been made of the big Super Bowl rematch this week, and really no one is shying away from it. Just listen to Kyle Shanahan describe what it's like rewatching the old Super Bowls.
Yeah, I think everyone understands that we've lost the two Super Bowls to them. So, I mean, that can give a little post-traumatic stress when you turn on the tape, but I think that's human nature. But you got to make sure you don't get caught up in that. This game has nothing to do with past games. That was last year. We're playing a really good AFC opponent. We're 500 right now. We want to stay atop of our division and get a win. You think about that stuff going into it, but in terms of what it plays out in a game, it really has no correlation, and you try to make sure that it doesn't.
It is true that those games are over and done, but they can have an effect on what happens Sunday because the 49ers should use them as a teaching tool. What can we learn from those Super Bowls? One, don't kick short field goals. Two, do not punt on fourth and short. Basically, don't leave the game out there for Patrick Mahomes to take at the end. You have to go and take it yourselves, 49ers, and I hope that they do. They tried to do that a little bit against the Seahawks. They left the door open, and then at the end, they did take the game for themselves. Nick Bosa says they need to play with that same effort on Sunday.
It's huge, yeah. Last week we talked about being a must-win, and we got it done. But we have to play like that every week. It's not a one-off, so we're excited to be back home for a couple weeks and need to stack another one.
This game clearly means a lot to the 49ers, but what about for the Chiefs? How are they looking at it? Well, here's Patrick Mahomes.
Whenever you have two great football teams that meet up in the Super Bowl and meet up in all these big games, there's going to be a history between that. And so, obviously, we've been able to win those games, but we know how good this football team is, and we have a ton of respect for them. And so it's not like one play couldn't have changed all these football games. And so we're going with that mindset of we just got to make the plays whenever they count.
The reality of the situation is Kansas City is 5-0. They don't really need this game nearly as much as the 49ers do. If they lose, it's an NFC game. They're still leading their division. Kansas City is okay. The Niners are just trying to stay above 500, right? They're trying to keep pace with everybody in the NFC. They have to have this game. The urgency should be on the side of the 49ers. We always give you one thing to read, one thing to watch, and one thing you might have missed. One thing to read on this Thursday. Deebo Samuel had George Kittle as a guest on his podcast, and they were asked who the best team is in the NFC. And for a change, neither one of them said the 49ers. That's progress in my book. If you want to find out who they picked, click the link in the description of this episode. One thing to watch. I had the pleasure of joining Sour Death Sam on 49ers Public Access yesterday. It was a ton of fun. I wore a very special shirt to mark the occasion. You may want to go and check that out. I'll drop that link in the description as well. One thing you may have missed, Deebo Samuel is dealing with a wrist injury that kept him limited in practice yesterday. We saw him at one point sort of shaking out his hand against the Seahawks. He only missed one play and came back in, but apparently it's a little bit of an issue for him. As for the rest of the injury report, Juwan Jennings, Malik Collins, Jake Moody, and Matthew Wright all did not participate in practice yesterday. Jordan Mason, Malik Mustafa, Deebo, and Jordan Elliott were all limited with various injuries. The only real concern, though, according to some 49ers beat writers, is Matthew Wright, who may not be able to go, and that means Anders Carlson would be kicking for the Niners. And again, he stinks. That's a wrap on today's 49ers in 5. Please rate, review, and follow the Gold Standard Podcast wherever you get your audio podcasts. Like and subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. Click the bell so you get notified when we're live, which is every weekday and after every single 49ers game for you. Enjoy your Thursday, everybody. I'm Rob Stats Guerrera. We'll talk later today.